Oh, I'm so rosy. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I know, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Really long time. So the last time I had posted was around Valentine's Day, and then the next week after that, I had the flu. It was bad. It was the flu, so it was bad. And then this week I had an exam on Wednesday night, and I had 2 exams this morning. So once I finished my exams, I was in it, I was ready to film. I'm here now. We're gonna go ahead and get into this video. So for this video, I've been getting this request a lot, like from people in person, like my good friends. They have kind of struggled with knowing how to do their just like day-to-day makeup and knowing what certain steps mean what. So this is kind of for those people that don't really know what they're doing. I think a lot of YouTubers kind of assume that people kind of know how to do their makeup generally, and I'm just going to wipe away all those assumptions and just like do a full face. But I'm going to break this up into like a little mini series again, like I've done before. This one is more like progressive kind of thing. Today I'm going to be doing face makeup, foundation, and I'm going to do like day-to-day face makeup, and I'm not going to do any eye makeup. And then I'm going to do like a day-to-day eye makeup look where it's like basic eyeshadow techniques, and then I'm going to be doing a glam version. So I'm first going to do like the day-to-day everyday kind of look thing, whatever, and then I'm going to get into like glam stuff later, and this will be another little like series that we have. I already said that. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right into the video. But before we do, please subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and we'll go ahead and get started. So since this is like a daytime makeup look, I'm not really going to prime my skin. Okay, I'm making assumptions that people know what primer is. Primer is meant to kind of adhere your makeup to your face, make it last longer, and primer can do different things. But since this is kind of a day-to-day, I usually use primer like at nighttime when I really am like I'm going out. I might be sweating a little bit because I'm dancing, you know how that goes. So I'm just gonna hydrate my face really well. To hydrate, I'm gonna use this Mario Badescu spray, and I'm just gonna spray this all over my face and then use a wet beauty sponge and kind of press the moisture into my skin. And by pressing it in, it kind of makes it so it's not just like this wet face spray just sitting on top of my face. It's actually getting pushed in, and it's actually soaking into my skin and really hydrating it. So I know the Mario Badescu sprays come in like quite a few scents. I like the pink one a lot. It smells like a baby doll to me. It's not just me. It smells like a baby doll. It smells like my childhood. So for foundation, I'm again going to assume that you know nothing. There are different finishes with foundation that you can get. When it comes to explaining things, I use my hands a lot, and I apologize. It's just what I do, okay? So there's matte, and there's dewy, and then there's sheer coverage, which won't cover very much, and then there's like full coverage, which a lot of like the big beauty gurus use full coverage foundation, so I'm sure you've seen it in action. The foundation I'm going to be using is this Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. This is one of my favorite foundations right now. I know it's not like a new foundation, but I really like it. Foundations come in different applications. Another foundation I have is this Milani one, and it like comes in a pump, which is the ideal applicator for foundation. However, this Wet n Wild foundation, it just is a spatula, which is kind of a weird application if you ask me, but we'll let Wet n Wild decide what they want to do. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my hair up real quick. So we'll go ahead and go in with this foundation. So if you're not priming your face, which I said I was not going to, you just go from like your hydration or your moisturizer, and then you just go right into your foundation. And then I'm just going to go in with my beauty sponge again. Another option that I do a lot is this flat brush from Morphe. This is their Y6 brush, and I really like it. It's like a dense kabuki brush, synthetic hairs, and I really like it for like packing on a full coverage foundation. But I do like this for a more, I wouldn't say a subtle foundation look, but I like a sponge because it kind of gives a more natural finish where it kind of, since the sponge is wet, kind of returns some of that moisture back into your skin. So I do kind of like that aspect of using a sponge. The sponge will soak up some of the product, so it gives you a more sheared out and daytime kind of foundation look. And this is an important step to know. You want to tap your foundation onto your skin. You want to disperse it tapping. You don't want to swipe, because that will give you like bald spots on your foundation, and it will just give you a wonky application. Also be prepared, this is the longest step, I swear. This and eyebrows. So I think a little unknown fact about makeup is that makeup is returnable. So if you are struggling to find a foundation in the store because store lights are god awful all the time and they're awful for trying to shade match your face, you can buy the makeup and then test it at home and then return the shades that aren't your shade. I've done it. Shade match yourself at home, buy it, and if it doesn't work, return it. I know you can return it at Ulta. I'm not quite sure if makeup is like returnable at CVS or like your drugstore. But Ulta sells drugstore makeup, so you could buy a ton without super breaking the bank. I can't speak today. You know, it's not like buying 5 bottles of $50 foundation. If you're buying like a nice, you know, $7 to $10 foundation, you know, you can buy a couple shades and find your right shade. So after your foundation, you're going to want to go in with concealer. So the concealer that I really like to use is this Catrice Liquid Camouflage. The Catrice line of concealers does not have many shades. It's definitely for fairer skinned people. I like using this for highlighting. The two purposes of concealer is highlighting and then concealing blemishes. And so concealing your blemishes, you want your own skin shade so that it conceals and the color itself of the concealer doesn't stand out. But with highlighting, you typically want to go about 2 shades lighter than your skin tone to really bring out the areas you want to highlight. I like to highlight under my eyes and really bring this out. I like to highlight my forehead. I do my nose, my chin, a little on my cupid's bow, just like the high points of my face. I just like to really get those areas with a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than my skin tone. But again, since this is for a more daytime look, I'm not going to go as heavy with the concealer as I would if I was going for a night out or I was going like the full glam kind of look. I say a night out, but I've done full glam in the day, so I can't really say that. So I'm just going to go in with the same sponge that I used. And again, with like your under eye, you don't want to swipe anyway because your under eye skin is so sensitive. You don't want to pull it, cause premature wrinkles. So another point to make is when you're concealing your under eyes, you can kind of see right here is where my like cheekbone kind of splits off, and this is like the lower part of my face and this is the upper. You want to keep it on that upper plane of your face to highlight those higher parts of your face, the parts where like the sun is hitting. You don't want to go over and like drag it too far down. Next, what I would typically go in with would be a face powder. When you use all of these liquid products, your face tends to be a little tacky. So there are 2 different face powders that you can kind of go in with. There is a pressed powder like this, pressed into the pan. And then there is a loose powder, and this one is just like, it's loose and you would kind of sift it out of there. So depending on kind of what it is you want to do, depends on what the powder would be. I like to use this powder all over my face. It is in my kind of color. So what I would do with this powder would be to just like swirl it on a big fluffy powder brush. This one's by EcoTools, and I would just fluff it all over my face. The larger the brush, the more even the distribution of the powder will be, and then it will also result in you not having too dry of a powdery feel. We're gonna address like the dry powder feel at the end anyway, but I just go in and I will just dust this on my forehead, dust it on my face, my cheeks. When I do my powder is because my foundation is kind of tacky, I can feel some resistance when I try to pull the bristles across my face. So you'll kind of know when you've powdered your face by the fact that it feels like it's got like a nice coverage of powder. It doesn't feel like it's still tacky in places, which will be important when you want to go in with a bronzer. You do not want your face to still be tacky, because when your face is still tacky and you apply a powdered bronzer, it clings to certain areas of your foundation and looks atrocious. So you definitely want to make sure your face is powdered and prepared. Now, I like to use this for all over my face. What I would use the loose powder for would be to bake under my eyes, which I will be addressing in the more glam video because I'm not going to be baking in this video. So now that my face is powdered, I'm going to go in with bronzer next, and I'm going to go in with this NYX bronzer. I'm going to go in with a flat angled brush. I like to use this to kind of chisel out my cheekbones a little bit, like I was talking about earlier, where like the top part you want to highlight, and down here is where you're going to want to apply your bronzer. So right here is where your cheekbone ends, and that's where you want to start bronzing, but you don't want to bronze your jawline. I know I'm like so many like So you don't want to bronze your jawline. So you want to stay right in this area, really getting under your cheekbones, under the hollows. I think the technique that I am using is called bronzing, where it's like half bronzing, half contouring. I do like to bronze in the areas that one would contour, if that makes sense. You can see where my cheekbone kind of comes down again. So I'm going to place my brush kind of in that hollow and start sweeping it on. And I am applying very little pressure, trying to kind of buff it into my skin and give it an even and a light application. Bronzer is not something you want to go overboard unless you're trying to look like Snooki. And again, here you can tell I'm not going down past my jaw, but I am definitely below the highest point on my cheekbone. Another like little note, you don't want to go too far in. By going far in, you kind of give a weird shadowed look too close to your mouth, and it makes you look older and more aged. So we're just going to keep our bronzer between like halfway and a third. Makeup is so trial and error. I can't tell you an exact science of how to do it. You gotta play around a little bit with it, but just keep it at least like halfway back is what I would say. Like, don't come more than halfway from your like ear to your mouth. I keep it right in here and just kind of buff it in. A big trick I've heard in the makeup community is kind of making like a 3 on your face. So you would want to do the top of your hairline, down the sides of your face, your cheekbones, and then like you're underneath your jaw. I said you didn't want to do your jaw, but like I do under my jaw, and then it makes a nice like chiseled shadow look. I have not been working out, so I gotta look like my face is little, even though it's not. So we're gonna go ahead and do the bronzer up on the forehead a little bit, and I go so light with it on my forehead. Be careful, be light-handed. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. And then I'm gonna go in under my jawline. Now the biggest thing that I notice when people do their bronzer is leaving it like this, and to me that is the telltale sign of an amateur doing their makeup, of someone who just doesn't really know how to do their makeup, is when their bronzer is just so harsh and just it's like this. They just leave it like this. So what I do is I go in with this brush. This is another Morphe brush. This is their G3. This is a synthetic brush. It's super soft, but it's really dense. So the bristles are really close together and tightly packed. So this is really good for buffing out the bronzer. So I take this and I just do little tiny circular motions and really try to buff out those harsh edges, and especially down here, you want to be careful that you don't brush it down into your jaw. You want to keep it tight and up at the top, and just do those circular motions and just buff it out to your own liking. And an important note is this brush that you want to use, you want it to be clean going in. You don't want to go in with bronzer on it, because then you're backtracking from where you already were. You don't want to add more. We just want to disperse what's already there. I would go with blush after you go in with your bronzer, and you really want your blush to meld nicely and kind of become one with your bronzer. That's a good way to put it. So this bronzer that I have is this Tarte bronzer, and this, don't shade me y'all, this is the blush that I got in my Sephora birthday gift. And Sephora birthday gifts know what they're talking about, okay? Like, they put good stuff in there. This is in the shade Party, and I love how, I've talked about this in other videos, but I just love how soft and sweet this blush is. But recently in an Ipsy bag, I got this, oh my gosh, I can't say this, Lychee and Gold Healthy Glow Rose Gold Blush. And it looks like this. It's got little shimmers in it. When I go in with my blush, I like to use this Real Techniques brush. I love how fluffy it is. I like to use a big fluffy one like this, and I don't know why I went like that. And I like how there's a lot of bristles, but they're not super tight. A very subtle look, and you really can build it to how you want it to be. So I think what I'm going to do for this blush is go in with this on the bottom and then go in with this on top. I'm just being slightly more extra than usual. This has a subtle sheen, so I think it'll bring a nice, like, summery, healthy glow. Does it say healthy glow on here? Oh my god, healthy glow is in the name. I just kind of like, whew. And of course you can do the smile technique and really see those cheekbones. I don't know why I'm humming. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just like excited that I'm filming for the first time in a long time, so I'm going a little crazy. So I do recommend this blush brush for beginners. I just really like how it distributes product really evenly and is really buildable, and you don't, you're not going to get a full amount of product in your first application, your first swipe, so it is really nice for that reason. I dropped it, of course. I jammed my finger into it. And then I'm just going to go in with this on top just to give a nice little... Oh, it brought a really nice sheen. Like, it almost looks like I have highlighter on without having highlighter on. Okay. Right here, when I'm looking at it, it looks like I have a lot of blush on. So what I'll do is I'll go in with a foundation brush that does have this skin tone on it, and I just kind of... because it's not going to distribute any colored product since it's got like my flesh tone on it, so it just kind of disperses it out a little bit and just makes it less harsh. Or you could even go back in with your sponge and do that if you'd like. So next I would say would be highlighter. I love highlighter, but I really don't think it's a very daytime kind of makeup product, especially the highlighters I have are very blinding. So I'm going to just kind of graze over highlighter. I feel like this blush really added a nice sheened look that a subtle highlight would. So I don't think it's necessary for me to go in with anything intense. What I would do after highlighting is I will do my eyebrows. So what I'm going to go in with today is this e.l.f. eyebrow gel, and I like it because it's double-ended. Technically one is an eyelash side, but I just use both for my eyebrows because I'm not putting clear mascara on, and no. So I will brush them all up, and I will even do these back ones like way up, where it looks absolutely ridiculous and you would never actually wear it out like this. But then, like, you get a more full shape and it's more workable from that point on. So I will comb them over, comb the top hairs over, and just sort of define the shape. And only do the very tops of the hairs. I won't go in and try to manipulate all of the hairs. And it just gives it a nice shape, and it just kind of really fills it out. Now here I have a little bald spot, so I'm going to just re-manipulate the hairs a little bit. And this is the brow that I have. Now naturally I'm pretty blessed with just full brows, and that's just not the case for everybody. So I can do a full like brow tutorial kind of look, but I think brows are something that are so intricate. They need their own moment. They need their own kind of tutorial. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do my other brow, and then I will be right back. So the next step I would say would be mascara. I feel like there isn't like a daytime, nighttime mascara. I just like to use my more inexpensive mascaras during the day. My typical like tried and true go-to, have bought multiple bottles, is the Benefit Roller Lash, but I'm not gonna use it for a daytime look every day because it is expensive. One trick though that I do use that I really recommend is if you put your mirror lower, you can look down in your mirror and do your mascara, and then you don't have to like bend your face at any awkward angle. You just look down in your mirror and you just... And then by doing that, your eyelashes are, you're looking down, so your eyelashes are lower. So you're not as likely to smear mascara up onto your eyelid, which is my pet peeve. I hate when I do that. And then of course, if you wanted to go in and do some bottom lash mascara, you could do that as well. I don't know if it's necessarily needed for a just daytime kind of makeup look, but of course it's all personal preference. What I kind of do is I just press it on, and instead of going down with my motions, I will jiggle the wand back and forth a little bit, and by jiggling it you get more volume, I guess you could say, is like the mascara gets thicker across instead of getting longer. So typically that could be the last step. Of course I have foundation on my lips, so you would want to get that off. I just use a lip scrub, a little bit of this, and that just kind of brought the color back to my lips and kind of got some of that foundation off. So what I would go in next would be lips, and this would be my last step for this kind of makeup look. So what I recently have gotten, this is the Gloss Balm, and this is just like from Victoria's Secret, and like I just got it out of one of their bins, and I really like this. It's like a little chubby stick. I just like wearing this, and it's got a subtle tint in it, and I just wear this for the day now. I think this is perfect for daytime. It just adds a slight bit of color. It's like glossy, and it looks really just like you have like a nice tinted lip balm kind of on, but I just really like the effect that this has. It's like the perfect daytime lip. I learned a long time ago you can't do a full face and not have anything on your lips, because it's just like you're just missing something. And so lastly, what you can do after you have done your full face is you could go in with some spray. I had said we would address the powdery look, and this is that step. I'm gonna go in with the same Mario Badescu spray that I went in to kind of prep my face. I'm just gonna spritz this all over my face, and it'll kind of melt those powders down and kind of take away that drier kind of look. You might not notice it on camera, but you will. If you powder your whole face, you'll notice what I'm talking about, and you'll notice a huge difference just from using a spray. And that'll just kind of re-bring that hydration back that the powder kind of absorbed and took away. So that completes this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. I am not really sure how helpful it will be. I hope you guys, maybe if you didn't know much about makeup, hopefully you know a little bit more now, because I've been doing makeup for a really long time. So for me, it's kind of hard to strip back that extra knowledge that I've learned and start with a fresh mind. So I might have made some more assumptions as the video went on and kind of forgot the purpose that I had. I do really apologize. If you have any questions about anything I might have left out, please leave those down below. I would love to address those and help you guys out as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if anything was helpful. If you enjoyed it, I was making a lot of goofy faces, maybe you liked those. Please, it would mean the world to me, and thank you so much for visiting my channel after many weeks of being gone. The flu was terrible. I'm better now. She back, she ready, and I will have another video coming for you guys soon. Bye guys. This is like a day. Oh god, it smells good, like a good baby doll. You can buy a ton without super breaking the bank. So you can buy a ton without and I use it in the shade. Why did I think that would work? Freaking mascara. Okay, thank you. Oi.